There we go. We're
Brilliant.
recorded. Shelley, over to you for today's Russell Group meeting.
Okay, guys, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about OSCAR. So we're going to have a look at some examples. I want to give you a flavour about what a personal statement could look like. You don't have to remember all this information today. I will come back and we'll talk through it again a bit nearer the time, perhaps when you're writing it. But I wanted it to be in the back of your mind, I guess, so that you know what OSCAR is about. So I don't know if you can, hopefully you can see the screen. I've got a Slido www address on the screen. So while you're waiting for us to get going, can you sign in on your phones if you've got them handy? And can you submit a one-word answer to the question on the screen? You can submit about 3 or 5 responses. You just have to click add response to put in another word. So I think I'm asking you, what do you want universities to say about your application when they receive it? So I'll give you a chance to have a look at that while I'm chatting. So feel free to answer questions, unmute for my response, use the Teams chat box, and Tim can let me know if there's any messages coming through. I've got my phone sort of to one side, so hopefully some messages may come through there. When we get to the video, if you can't hear it or anything like that, please just be brave and let me know that that's the case. Okay, we'll get started. You can add those responses to Slido all the way through the presentation. Okay, so first thing, I'm going to play you just a little video about the OSCAR programme so that you can get a flavour for it before you have to listen to my voice for the rest of it. So here we go.
Some students are getting much better guidance on how to fill in their personal statements when they're applying for university than others. So what were they looking for?
The university admission tutors were looking for engagement at an academic level, so they were looking for scholarly engagement with something to do with their programme.
So what's the answer then?
The personal statement writing process for students is a daunting and challenging one.
You literally don't know where to start. And they've never done anything like it before.
They've got no idea what it's like as a document.
The things that they lack the most have been academic rigour.
Schools find it particularly difficult to approach the personal statement writing season.
Often there aren't enough subject-specific teachers at the school to really be able to advise their students on exactly what to put to apply to that subject.
It's very difficult for students to know what academics actually want.
It's a real shame when students have done lots and lots of work and lived lots of experiences and have been out of the classroom, but that doesn't necessarily translate into a great personal statement.
OSCAR is a structured programme that takes students through the personal statement writing, tailored to whatever subject they're applying for.
It gives young people a sort of scaffold to go about doing that and to think more deeply about their subject experiences.
Something that teachers say to us a lot is that they really need a system where they can be secure in the knowledge that it's up to date and it's got the latest links and the best questions, the latest resources, and that's what OSCAR provides.
I think it provides a structure that I can use to train and develop my team of tutors.
Every subject has 3 different resources that it can target you towards with different questions. So there's scaffolding, there's stretch for all of your students, but there's also support.
One of the greatest things about OSCAR is it really asks students to reflect deeply on each of those activities and to make it coherent and relevant to the subject they're applying to.
We've seen that the OSCAR system has the potential to produce outstanding personal statements, which really make a difference for students' chances of securing an offer at leading universities. And that's why we're so keen that this research now goes out into the classroom and starts making a difference for all students.
I found it really easy to use and straightforward.
It gives you the step-by-step and it sort of teaches you how to do it at the same time.
Within 5 minutes it was like, right, I can put bullet points, sort of the bullet point structure of I need to do this first and then I need to develop it.
OSCAR really helped me analyse my work.
It's a record of the best possible version of themselves as students, and it's just really, really nice to see them doing that.
So you're getting more results now which are much more academically focused.
As a teacher, I know how difficult it is to fit things into a school day, and what's great about OSCAR is how easy it is to integrate into any planned activities into tutor time, and even better that students can access OSCAR on their tablets and their phones and take it home with them. What I love about OSCAR is the chance for all students of all abilities and any subject to have the opportunity to write an excellent personal statement.
Along with the personal statement tool, there's also a tool to enable teachers to write efficient references that include all of the key messages universities are looking for.
So it's really helpful for teachers to have one single authoritative source of information, and of course that means that they can then go and spread the message in their schools and to their colleagues and their wider networks.
Okay, I hope you found that a little bit informative. So telling you a little bit about OSCAR then, it's something that I've worked with outside of college for about 5 years now. When you're working with students outside of college, it's all online, and you do it through the platform. You add feedback through the platform, talk to students with messaging. And we've been really lucky at Long Road to be able to sign up to the same system. So OSCAR is an online statement writing platform and uses research and practice to inform students and university staff and charities about the most effective ways, I guess, of improving your university application. So OSCAR is really expert in its approach to statement writing. It's all based on leading academic research, and they work with a number of universities and over 200 schools. And here at Long Road, we've been really lucky through Tim to have access to OSCAR. We will have accounts set up for every student, and then on top of that we've got progress coaches here who are trained to advise you on how to use the platform and to give you feedback. So it's a fantastic free resource for you to use to improve your application. So I've got a bit of true or false here to get you sort of going, and there's 3 statements here, and I obviously can't see your answers. So if you're brave enough to unmic and say true or false, that would be really cool actually. So the first statement is, even when state educated students achieve the same grades as their privately educated peers, they are a third less likely to receive an offer to study at a Russell Group university. So a third less likely. So true or false, guys? Third less likely.
I'd say probably true.
Yeah, true. It is true that Russell Group applicants from state schools are much less likely to receive offers from Russell Group universities in comparison with their equivalently qualified, actually, peers from private schools. So as long as you've got the grades for university, do you think that university will offer you a place? And it doesn't really matter about your personal statement if you meet the entry requirements. Do we think that's true or false?
False.
Yeah, absolutely. Whoever said that, well done. Yeah, it's false. In fact, for particularly competitive courses, your personal statement can actually be the deciding factor as to whether the place is offered to you or another student. So it's really important. And then the last one is that Oxford and Cambridge admissions advisors pay little or no attention to the areas of your personal statement which talk about extracurricular activities such as hobbies and team sport. How important do you think that section is?
Is that false?
It's actually true. At the UCAS conference this year, Oxbridge admissions tutors confirms that they're interested in the academic areas of your personal statement and the supercurricular activities Adam's talked about with you, and that they actually don't even read the extracurricular activity bit at the bottom. So actually it was true, but good guess. So there's a very boring graph for those of you that aren't into maths like myself, but basically if you look on the left, you can see that's higher. The Russell Group offer rate is much higher for those students that are using OSCAR as a personal statement. And I don't know if you saw in the video, but it did say that there was 100% acceptance rate for university offers for Russell Group for students using the OSCAR personal statement writing. Okay, so I'm going to need your help again. So difficult without the chat box. So perhaps you'd be brave enough to unmute and talk to me. If not, do type and I'm sure Tim will read your answers out. But these are some of the common problems with personal statements that you see when you're thinking about how you can write about yourself to impress an admissions tutors. And sometimes we don't quite get it right. So students tend to say things like, law is the glue that holds society together. Chemistry is all around us. They might say things like, I regularly read articles from the National Geographic. My work experience gave me deep insight into graphics. I'm fascinated by the place of law in society. I want to study business, and I mean business. So starting with the first one, law is the glue that holds society together. Chemistry is all around us. Can anybody sort of suggest what they think might be wrong with that, or maybe right with that?
Do you think that tells us much about law, Pierre, and the students studying law? That's kind of what we're after. What's your thoughts?
People who are looking at that, they don't really care about what the subject is. They care about what you are interested in about it and stuff like that more.
Yeah, absolutely perfect. Yeah, that's a perfect answer. That's quite a sort of general statement, isn't it? And sometimes students make sort of like really big statements and sort of all this enthusiasm and talk about passion. But it doesn't set you aside from another student who's saying those things. So they tend to fail to show sort of real examples, I guess, of why they'd be good for the course. Well done, you hit the nail on the head. Now you're safe from me picking on you because I can't see you either, so I don't know who's on the call with me. So unmuting is fantastic. Thank you for that. Okay, the second one is this student's trying to show, I guess, that they've got some academic experience, so they're going to make some statements here. They're making statements like, I regularly read articles in National Geographic. I've done some work experience. It's given me a really good insight into graphics. Can you see anything that sort of is slightly wrong with those statements, or maybe something right with them actually? It might be good and bad in that. Has anybody got any ideas?
I think that it's a bit vague. They don't give any examples and what they kind of learnt from it. It's just saying, like, state. It's not got any example.
Brilliant. Okay, that's a really good point. You're right. It's excellent in that they're saying that they're reading articles, but there's no example, so there's no evidence behind that. Well done, Maisie. That's spot on. Was there another voice in the background that has something else to say?
Yeah, I couldn't quite catch who it was, but please add to it if you could. There, anybody?
Yeah, no, it's me, Harry.
Hi,
basically
Harry.
the same thing, really, except if they would talk a bit more about maybe what they found interesting about a certain article, like giving, like what Maisie said, examples is very useful, rather than just having a generalization.
Perfect, Harry. Yeah, well done. That adds to what Maisie said as well. They often have these really good ideas about things that they've done, but they forget to develop or analyse those experiences. And thinking back on the video we've just watched, Causeway Education mentioned that universities need to, you may be an amazing student, but unless you evidence the experience you've got in your personal statement, they don't know that. So it's really important. I'm going to skip over the next one because we've talked about extracurricular activities, but they should only take up 15 to 20% of your statement. So that's a really important one, actually. And students can talk way too much about extracurricular activities. Okay, so we're going to nip to the last one. I'm fascinated by the place of law in society. I want to study business, and I mean business. Can anybody see anything sort of slightly not spot on with that statement?
I think it's like not too straightforward, but when they say I mean business, that they kind of give an order. That's how I feel it, and like I don't think it's something you should put on it.
Okay, that was Laura Shelley answering that for you.
Oh, well done, Laura. Yeah, absolutely spot on. It's that sort of general statement again, isn't it, about I'm fascinated by the place of law. I want to study business, and I mean business. Absolutely, it sounds like an order. I think sometimes students forget to sort of edit their work and also forget to use sort of appropriate language, if you like. And you're absolutely right, Laura. That did sound like an order or a statement. So they tend to be a bit too chatty. So it's avoiding those types of things. Okay, I'm going to do this really briefly because this is going to be something that you don't remember until we actually get into the classroom and do this together. So please don't worry if this feels like there's a lot of information about how the platform works and you're not going to remember, because I will help you with this as we get a little bit towards the summer term. But there are basically 5 stages of OSCAR, which makes it really easy to structure your personal statement and know what to write in each section. So there's an opening paragraph, which are your reasons for wanting to study the course. There's a second paragraph, which is what we call the topic of interest paragraph. There's a third paragraph, which will be all those course-related activities. There's the supercurricular stuff that Adam's been coaching you with. And then very finally, if you've got room on your statement, there's extracurricular. So you can see by my stars on the PowerPoint that 80% of your statement should be those first 3 paragraphs. And then extracurricular really shouldn't take up any more than 20%. And then the final section of OSCAR allows you to put your paragraphs together to form a personal statement. So it's really good to structure it. It's also quite easy to understand when you get going. So the really brilliant thing about it, and they said in the video, is that you can actually start off by entering the subjects you want to take during the platform. So if you want to apply for graphic design, you can click that into the platform, and then that makes your experience of OSCAR completely bespoke. Everything you answer, all the rest of the stages are then tailored for your subject. So it's really good from that point of view. It's often best to complete stage 1 last, actually, but we'll talk about that a little bit sort of nearer the time when you're actually writing. And the aim of stage 1, your reasons for wanting to study the course, is very much about talking about the subject specific skills that you've demonstrated in your courses, in your work experience. So it's actually providing real evidence to show why you would be a good graphics design student. So I've got a bit of an example here. Now, there's no right or wrong answer actually to all of this. This is this is their first attempt at trying to give reasons to why they want to study a business course. So I'm going to read it out to you. This student says, business, finance and accounting has been a passion of mine for some years now. I first had the idea of becoming a chartered accountant when my uncle told me about what he does in his role as finance manager of a local hospital. He inspired me to look deeper into the field, and that was where my interest in finance and economics was first rooted. So this student's trying to show his passion, I guess, to the university admissions advisor by showing why he loves business. And he should really be talking about subject specific skills, I guess, to show why he'd be good for the course. So can you see, what feedback would you give? Can you see anything about that could possibly be improved?
I didn't really know exactly what to say, but I thought maybe instead of talking about business, finance and accounting as a whole, maybe he could talk about them separately.
Absolutely spot on, Tess. Be more specific. That's one of the biggest rules of writing. Yeah, absolutely perfect example. That's a good piece of feedback. Has anybody got anything else to add to that? Thinking possibly about what we said about making empty statements about things, I guess, and not being specific and not giving examples. Can anybody else see anything else that might be missing?
To add on to that, when it said to be inspired to look deeper into the field, it didn't give an example or explain anything further on that. That's how they got their interest, but it didn't say what essentially in there they got their interest from.
Yeah, absolutely perfect. Who am I talking to?
That's Harry. That was Harry again there. So thank you, Harry, for that. Yeah, I thought that was good.
Thanks, Harry. That's absolutely spot on. Yeah, you're right. They don't work with any examples. They just say they want to look deeper into the field. And it's really good to show universities what you actually are coming to study and what you'd be interested in. But obviously, this student has been so general that you don't really know where their interests lie.
Yeah, if you think about that, students, at the time, and this is why you are the Russell Group students here, and this is why your teachers are telling me that, you know, you are going to a Russell Group university, because you've got that quality of not making them general sweeping statements. You're actually considering things and you're putting it forward with more depth there. Remember what Shelley said there, that there's more depth, isn't there, really, to your personal statement if you go into something more. Sorry, Shelley, I'm taking over.
That's absolutely okay. So I think those were really two good suggestions. So I think we're going to move to have a look at one that's used OSCAR so that you can see the difference. So we've got some fancy graphics here. Okay, this is one that's been made a little bit stronger using OSCAR. So I'll give it a read again as you listen, see if you can sort of pick out something which is better about this one. So I would like to study business as I am excited by the prospect of involving imaginative thinking to solve complex business problems. My aim is to work with business managers, showing them the newest and most effective organisational and coordinating techniques, as well as using up-to-date technologies to make a company successful. At my part-time job, for example, I help my manager design a more efficient system for stock taking, saving significant amounts of employee time every week. So straight away, just responding to one of the feedback from before, you were absolutely right about listing business, accountancy and finance. They've gone to business. So that was a really good point. Can anybody else see anything there that's sort of a bit better maybe than last time?
They've talked about the qualities that you'll need to have to be able to take the course. So it's like showing a deeper understanding of why they would want to do it and what it would apply from them.
Absolutely. Is that Maisie again?
That's Maisie again, yeah. Fantastic.
Brilliant, Maisie. Well done. That's, yeah, fantastic. Spot on. They've actually given real examples, haven't they? They've said, you know, what they've done to be good at business. So absolutely spot on, Maisie. Has anybody got anything they'd like to add?
They've said, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Go for it.
They said what they want to get from taking business and what they're working towards as well.
Well done, Poppy. Yeah, that was Poppy, Shelley.
Brilliant, Poppy. Absolutely spot on. That they're showing what they're working towards again. Well done, spot on. Okay, lovely. Has anybody got? There was one other voice mixed in with all of that.
They've backed it up with showing something they've actually done, which someone could probably they could ask about in the interview and then double check and stuff like that.
Absolutely. So if this candidate was up against another candidate, you can actually see that they're provided examples of what they've done. Well done. What you've just fed back is absolutely perfect. If I was
that was Pierre there, Shelley. So
Pierre, well done. Absolutely perfect. If I was giving feedback now to that student, what you've just told me is exactly the types of things that I would fed back, and you've seen that in your first going off of looking at OSCAR. So really spot on. Well done. Okay, some fancy graphics again, which I'll never be able to do again. Okay, so that was the first paragraph, your introduction, I guess. I'm going to do a little bit with stage 2, and I think we'll skip over 3 and 4 today, possibly. We'll see how much time we've got. But stage 1 and 2 are the sort of most important. So stage 2, it takes a little bit longer to do. It's called a topic of interest paragraphs. It's basically a bit of mini research on your subject. So the aim of it really is just to demonstrate that your interests stretch a bit beyond what you're taught in college. So you're going to have to sort of demonstrate examples, I guess, of your wider interests, your learning, your work experience, anything where you've gone above and beyond what you've been doing in your courses. So the really good thing about OSCAR is if you feel a little bit at a loss to start with about what to talk about, it actually guides you to specific external sites to find reading material for your subject. So that bit about personalising it for you, it'll link you to stages where you can dip into some reading material. This is the paragraph. If I was doing this myself, you can use the platform how you want. It's really up to you. This is probably where I would start. This would be the first bit that I would probably look at before doing anything else. So just to give you an idea what they might look like, because different subjects would have different topic of interest paragraphs, really. So mission staff have said that they really value this about the personal statement. This is the biggest thing for getting you at a place at those top universities. And this is absolutely 100% crucial if you're applying for Oxbridge. This is sort of a must. So for medicine, you could perhaps analyse a piece of work experience. So health and social care professions, paramedic science, nursing, they tend to work much better if you could talk about a work experience, an interaction with a patient, something you've observed, something you've noticed. So medicine and healthcare tends to be much more successful if you talk about a work experience. Whereas history might be better if you did some reading perhaps about the American dream and analysed an argument in it. So history might guide you more to a journal article or a lecture or something where you can analyse a piece of history like you would do in your lessons. Geography, you might look at a case study. They've given you the a water transfer scheme in China, and actually I've got a student who's just looked at water damming, and he's talked about that in his statement for civil engineering. Physics, it could be a recent research development that you've read about again in a journal article, and your response to that and what you've learned. And then law, with law, you tend to look at case studies. So you tend to pick a case. In this case, this student picked where a businessman won his legal action against Google. And you talk about what you learned in that case and how you sort of responded to it. So this is a little bit teachery. This is a bit like a PA paragraph, isn't it, in English? But to help you try and remember what you need to put in this paragraph, OSCAR focuses, selects and reflects. So they focus on a small topic, they select 2 or 3 key points about that topic, and then they say what they think about them. So it's analysing, really. It's what you do in your essays all the time. So this is our first student. They're trying to apply for law, really keen to do law, really competitive course, really needs to be academic, I suppose, to interest the admissions tutors. So let me read out what they've written to you. You tell me what you think. So I am especially fascinated by all aspects of human rights law, and I am passionate about bringing justice to people who are not able to represent themselves. Human rights are a key part in making society fair, and this is the part of law which shows how it can be a glue that holds society together. So just give that a little bit of thought and what we talked about last time about big sort of generalised statements and things, and let me know what you think about that one.
Should they give like a case study example?
Yeah, perfect. So it's sort of missing the case study. Well done. Who am I talking to?
Ruby.
Oh, Ruby, well done. Absolutely. So it's missing anything really, hasn't it? They're not really talking about anything. They're very general. Perfect. Well done, Ruby. Anybody got anything to add?
They're talking more about, when saying human rights, they're talking more broadly and not talking about themselves a lot.
Absolutely. They're talking really broadly and not giving those examples. Absolutely. Well done. Both of you are spot on. And we call this Law Batman. It's the idea that you're going to save the world and you're here to make everything right and you're passionate about human rights. But those two things that you've just said about using examples show how your academic ability in that subject. So that's what the admissions tutors want to see. Well done, you two. That's spot on. Okay, now this is a better one, and this is somebody that's sort of been using OSCAR a bit, I guess, to develop their paragraph. It's obviously done a bit of reading. So I'm going to read it out, and then I wonder if you could sort of highlight what you think the good features are for me. I've developed an interest in human rights law and read up on the recent case of 2 women who were challenging the new law that immigrants wished to join their spouses had to pass a pre-entry English language test. One of the main legal issues centred on whether the new policy breached the applicant's right to a family life. I was struck by the level of uncertainty in the wording of the final judgment. Although the appeal failed, the judges stated that a significant number of future cases, for example, those in which immigrants and learning difficulties would be likely to breach human rights. My research led me to reflect on the fact that the application of the specific laws depends on very subtle differences in the circumstances of different cases. So what features are really good about that one? What do you like about that one as opposed, I guess, to the last example? Yeah, why is it better? Why does it sound better? What is this student doing that the last one didn't? And I think...
Could you say that it's better because...
Yeah, go on. Go for it, Maisie.
I I thought it would be better because he's talked about an example, so it's not vague, and he's also reflected on it and kind of analysed the case study.
Perfectly. Yes, he's reflected on it, hasn't he? He's used he's not vague at all. He's used a specific answer and he's reflected on it. Well done, spot on, Maisie. There was another voice in the mix there. Was there anything to add to that?
Yes, was that Pierre? Is that you, Pierre, or someone else?
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing about examples, really.
Lovely. Yeah, there's the examples, and I mean, they actually they focus, don't they? They focus on a case. They select some information, 1 or 2 ideas to talk about it. They talk about the policy, they talk about the level of uncertainty, and then the student really cleverly then reflects on what they think about it. So you've really given a really good academic example, and it's only a really short paragraph, and that's what's really important about the personal statement, actually, that it's actually only about a side of A4 in point 11. So this is not a long piece of work at all. It's a very tight, clear, well written sort of example.
It is indeed, and again, just sort of think about that from maybe what we heard from Selwyn College and what we heard from Adam recently and what we're hearing from Shelley today, and the proof in the pudding from these real references and personal statements rather coming through. And as you can see now, get confidence, as Shelley's sort of saying, and pick up on maybe one area that you're really interested in your subject and focus deeper on that. Of course, we know you know lots about your subject, and I'm certainly not saying you'd give general sweeping statements through your personal statements on those different areas, but what it is especially is someone wants to see how you've really gone into one specific topic, shall we say, and that's what's been shown now with this law personal statement. Shelley, sorry.
No, that's great. Thank you, Tim. Absolutely. So it's just that little bit of evidence. And when we get back into the classroom in the summer and we can do a bit of work on stuff, I can show you what different drafts look like and how students really go from what you've just seen in that first one to that example. And you will be able to do this. It's amazing when you see the difference. So we'll have lots of examples that we can look at, but well done, all the things that you're pointing out, perfectly okay. Now, I'm not going to, we sort of haven't got an awful lot of time left, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on supercurricular because I know that Adam has spent quite a lot of time talking to you about this. It is really important to demonstrate your experience is wider than your courses. So everything that Adam's been telling you over the last couple of weeks about talking about things like your EPQ, summer school, debate clubs, lectures you've attended, some sort of work experience, all of those things that you haven't already discussed in stage 2, I guess, to go into the supercurricular activities. So I'll upload the PowerPoint so that you can see some examples, but similar thing, there are some examples here and there's some notes under the slides, so you can go back to this possibly at another time and think about that. But I know that Adam's done a lot of work with you on those things. Okay, I'm going to skip on to extracurricular just very briefly. So we've already said then that the extracurricular section is the least important of your statement. Of course, unless you're applying to be a football coach and you've been captain of the football team and been on tours, then of course that's different. But in most academic statements, this is the little bit of section that students get really carried away about talking about because they're really enthusiastic about it, but actually it doesn't show anything about the way that you are going to be on the course. So the one thing to sort of just bear in mind is that any examples that you use in this section should be really brief and they should be linked to the personal skills that you use. So things like independence, teamwork, communication, organisation, those types of things. I'm going to quickly show you an example. So there are a few problems with this. Think to start with about the length of it compared to that paragraph for stage 2 that we've just looked at. So I'm just going to read it to you quickly and you can give me your thoughts. Outside of the classroom, I've completed the Duke of Edinburgh Silver Award. This helped me to develop a number of skills. I am passionate about swimming and have been a member of the school team since year 11. During my GCSEs, I was also a member of the netball team. Swimming at a high level has provided a perfect training in managing pressurised situations. As a school prefect, I take parents around the school for tours and organise events such as our recent talent show by creating advertising and selling tickets, raising over £1,000 for charity. For 2 years, I've worked in a busy local shop, and this has developed my abilities to work with people. I feel confident interacting with people from all walks of life and backgrounds. So if you were looking at this, I guess, and assessing this against the length of stage 2 and the detail that's in here, what sort of comments would you make to the student, do you think?
You need to like just pick a few of them and then link them back to what they've already said and some skills that they've got from it.
Absolutely perfect. I mean, if you were applying to go and take law and you read this, you've got to think about what those things, how they relate in any way to the subject you're taking. Absolutely spot on. Well done. Has anybody got anything to add to that?
I think the structure as well.
Shall we go Lucy first and then the next student? So Lucy Swan first. You want to go first, Lucy?
Yeah, okay. Well, I saw that when they've been talking, they've made several points, but they haven't backed up their points. For, I think it was the first sentence, they said that they developed a number of skills, but they haven't said the skills and how it helps them or anything like that. And I think it's also quite disjointed. They've talked about swimming and stuff like that and then left it and then come back to it. So it just feels a bit disjointed and not very put together.
Absolutely perfect, and perfect feedback, by the way. You'll have to come and do some of the feedback for these students, Lucy. Is it Lucy? Yeah, absolutely spot on. The idea that they've used a lot of examples. It's not backed up with any personal skills. Well observed.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I missed the who else wanted to maybe have a little sort of bit of feedback there. If you want to still feedback, do so by all means, or we can go on.
I wanted to say the same, so it's fine.
That's
Perfect.
Lara. Thank you, Lara. Yeah, that's good. Okay, that's brilliant stuff. Now, actually, just on the back of that, I mean, this is a lovely bit of detail from a student, but to be honest with you, and I'm sure Shelley will tell you the same, because we're going to be interviewing Thursday, Friday for our Year 11s coming up to Year 1s at Long Road next year when you start Year 2. And that's the sort of detail, no disrespect to this student that's put that in there, but that's the sort of detail we're getting into our personal statements from Year 11s coming into Long Road, which is fantastic. And of course, this sort of detail as well is great if this student was going maybe to come onto a sports degree course, the area I teach in, and they were going to Bedford University or University of Hertfordshire, Nottingham Trent, wherever else, because it tells them that. But actually for a Russell group, it's not quite right. So Shelley, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, there's nothing wrong with this. It's really well written, but I think the students were completely right. This student here should have just talked about one skill or two skills and activities, and that possibly if they're applying for a law course, perhaps in this situation, this is word count, I guess, which they could be using to show why they're a brilliant law student. So although there's nothing wrong with this, and if you had a lot of room to write and you could write quite a few pages, this would be great. It doesn't link to the personal skills, and it doesn't really relate to the subject either. So it's almost word count that we've wasted, which we could be selling ourselves in. Okay. Oh, some more graphics which will never work again. Okay. There's another one here, and this is really interesting because this is different to what we've looked at in stages 1 and 2, because this has got smaller. So which features would you praise, I guess? So in completing my Duke of Edinburgh Silver Award, I have developed skills in planning tasks and leading a team. I speak 2 different languages, English and Portuguese, and this has given me a valuable perspective in understanding different cultures. During my A-levels, I worked in a busy shop and swam for the school team. By balancing these commitments with my studies, my ability in organising and managing my time has improved significantly. How is that one sort of more effective, I guess? What is this student sort of reflecting more on here? What have they linked their sort of activities with? What skills have they linked it with?
Lara, do you want to start us off on that one and we can sort of build on your feedback?
So I think this says what the skill they've done and their activity, and they back it up to, like, for example, they say about what they've done and saying they can have good time managing, and that helped to improve. And I think that's a good thing to say, because you definitely need to have a good time management to be able to study and relax in the same time.
Absolutely perfect. And actually you've hit the nail on the head. They've linked that, they've shown why they'll be good at studying, haven't they, with those examples? Well done. So they're saying, you know, here I am, I'm going to be a really good undergraduate because I'm committed, I can organise my time, and that's developing all the time. Yeah, well done, that's well pointed out. Has anybody got anything to add? Although I think that's probably hit the nail on the head.
Okay.
Okay, brilliant. We'll move on then. Oh, more graphics. Okay, stage 5. After you've done all of this and all these different stages and put lots of information into the system, you're going to be at a point where you can put your statement together, and at that point you submit a draft through the OSCAR system, and that draft comes to your progress coach, your mentor, the person on the other end, and they look through your statement and they will add some feedback, and their feedback will be just exactly what you've done for me today. We'll be looking at it, we'll be making suggestions about what to add and how you can improve your statement. And the redrafting process, by the way, can go on for quite a few drafts to get it looking the way you want to for either Oxbridge or Russell Group. I think this year the 2 Oxbridge students I work with went to about 7 drafts in the end to really get a fantastic statement. Okay, this, I guess, closing note, these are the things that you need to for a competitive personal statement, and Tim's mentioned some of this actually while we were talking as well. Tim mentioned developing your examples, so not just lots and lots of examples, not just breadth, but actually depth, so actually analysing things and talking in detail and giving examples. That register, show not tell, English GCSE, exactly the same. So not absolutely saying I am passionate, but showing you're passionate by the examples that you talk about. Giving a sense of the individual, the academic side of your personality, I guess. Telling them something that makes you stand out from the next candidate, and avoiding that excessive emphasis on extracurricular activities. Okay, I'm going to stop there because I'm aware that we're sort of coming close to time. These are sort of like next stages. I'm going to upload the PowerPoint onto Teams for you to have a look through. Tim's organising at the moment for you to be set up onto OSCAR. That might not be done for a little while, but once you're on OSCAR, you can sign in and click Forgot Password, and you can set yourself up so you have an account. OSCAR's brilliant because not only does it have this statement writing facilities, but it's also got different modules you can use to help you with the university application process. So the first lot of modules are the Explore section, and it will give you links and guide you through looking for universities and how to choose your courses. So it's a really good place to start if you want to play with the system. You can email me if you've got any questions, although I promise I will be back in the summer term and we'll go through this with me in the classroom and showing you how to log in and how to use the system. And if you are interested in reading a little bit more about OSCAR, there's a link there to Causeway Education's website if you want to show your mum and dad, and you can go online. Now that slidey thing that you were doing in the beginning for me, that should have created some kind of word cloud of all the different things that you've been thinking about what you want university admissions tutors to think about you. So in a minute, while Tim's saying goodbye to you, I'll see if I can extract that and put it into the chat box. I'm going to bring you back to me so you can see me.
Okay.
Ta-da! Right, I'm going to do some jiggery pokery in the background, see if I can sort it out.
Okay, then while you're jiggery pokerying in the background there to find a cloud and all that sort of stuff, I'll thank Shelley for taking that time, precious time out of a very busy schedule there. I'm hoping, Shelley, that we do have everybody invited to join OSCAR now. Dan, who is helping us set up today, has reassured me that all Year 1 students have been sent a link about 2 weeks ago, I believe, or maybe even a week ago. I'll try and find out the exact date that Dan on behalf of the college sent you the OSCAR systems setup, right? If I can find that, I'll remind you to look at this date in your emails. We know you get lots of emails through and all that sort of stuff. So I'm hoping OSCAR will be around for you. If it isn't, we're going to make sure you're on it in the next couple of weeks. On the back of that as well, I always like to sort of kind of wrap up and end with our Vesper analogy there and all that sort of stuff. We have a Vesper as an acronym, don't we? The V, as I put on the end of all our presentation slides, and I can put one on the end of Shelley's as well. Well, V is for vision. Well, you've all got great vision. You're all Russell Group students, and you want to go to a Russell Group University. Oxford, Cambridge, and the other 22 are all out there for you. You are getting stronger and stronger every time we go through this to be able to apply. E is for effort, isn't it? Well, you've turned up today. That's great effort shown there, and you're putting 100% into your lessons. No more can be asked, so just keep doing that. You've got a well-deserved half term coming up, really starting from tomorrow onwards, so that's really good. S is for systems. Well, we've just gone through a system, haven't we? And this system's available to you 24/7. OSCAR is there. I'm sure that you realise now from what Shelley said that it's well worth starting to sort of find out about this OSCAR. So actually, P is for practice, if I remember rightly. Practice with OSCAR. As Shelley said, put in a subject and you'll find links. And Shelley, I'm hopefully right here in saying that the OSCAR team are constantly updating the subject sort of details and all that sort of stuff. So with your super curricular that Adam was going on about and Grace over at Selwyn, the super curriculum is constantly being topped up for your subject. And I know Hope's with us today and she's aiming to be an architect. When she goes into architecture, she will see not just sort of things that happened in 2016 when we saw that earlier video there of the Radio 4 broadcast and then the OSCAR people developing it. Every time they've got something new, it's updated. So the latest in architecture will be on there for Hope to look at. The latest for law, if anybody's in law, will be in there as well. Something that helps you develop the depth of your understanding rather than sort of skimming over it. And where was I? I was on VESP. A is for attitude. Well, you've got the right attitude because you've been in here, you've been asking the questions, you're prompting, and we're encouraging you to carry on. So our Vesper model is going fantastic. I really want to thank the 30 odd that have been here today for their attention. Shelley, this has been recorded. So students, as well as you know, this will go on the Long Road YouTube site. I'll send the link when Abby, who's our marketing officer, has put it on there for me. So I'll put that in there. And Shelley's going to do the presentation slides as well, which she'll send to me. And of course, I'll send on to the whole of the group and those that couldn't make it today. That's from me. I just want to thank you. Back to Shelley with her cloud. How you been getting on with that cloud?
Yeah,
Shelley?
it's there. I'll share it with you. So with the PowerPoint, there's also a student user guide. So I'll send that out to Tim as well. So it's quite hefty. And this is just something that we'll go through in the summer term. So if you're thinking today, poof, my brain is quite full, I will help you set it up and we'll go through it again and do some one-to-one. So don't you worry. Right, I'm going to show you my cloud because this might be the only time this ever works. She says, I can't see it though. No, where is it?
I can't see a cloud. While you're waiting for that cloud, I've just realised as well, of course, introducing you to the next meeting, gang. The next meeting originally was going to be on the 9th of March, but we're with Bristol University on the next meeting and they want to do another presentation for you. Nice and general, kind of like what we keep going through and all that sort of stuff. Obviously, they're going to tell you about Bristol. It's a fantastic university. And I know Shelley's going to sort of say that it's a fantastic city as well, because you can hear from her accent, she's a Bristol lass. It really is a brilliant university. In normal times, we'd go and visit it. And you never know. We may, in July, if we can pinch a day out, me and Shelley will take you to Bristol. You'll absolutely love it. It's a long day, but it's a fantastic university. So I will email you and remind you that it's the 2nd of March is our next Russell Group meeting. And Shelley, you're more than welcome to listen in as well. So please do if you can.
Yeah, I'd love to. And here's our word cloud.
Yay.
Ta-da! So you said the bit. So what words would you like universities to use when describing your application? The overriding word that came out that was unique. Absolutely perfect, and that was before you listened to any of that. So passionate, impressive, interesting, unique, all brilliant qualities. So well done, thank you everybody, and I'll stop there.
Okay then, yeah, so thank you all. In fact, that's exactly 1 hour. Shelley, that was perfect. Team, if you want to, students, wonderful students, if you just want to unmute yourselves and give Shelley a clap, that would be a lovely way to end this, and then I will stop recording. So unmute yourself and clap for Shelley, please.
Slow clap.
Thank you so much. We'll see you soon,
everybody.
and we'll
See you
send
soon.
an email. Thank you now. Bye-bye.
Thank
you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just